everyone. You guys are getting ready to come to the Palm Springs Air Museum and check out all the awesome planes that we have here. But before you guys come, we want to give you an opportunity to learn a little bit about how all these amazing flying machines work. So I have a few things that I'm going to show you in this quick video, and then you guys are going to be all set to come to the museum. I have a small model of one of Leonardo da Vinci's flying machines in my hand. Now, a lot of us learned about Leonardo because of the Mona Lisa. That's a painting of a lovely lady with long dark hair, and some people say she's got kind of an interesting smile. Now, we love all of his artwork, but we really love Leonardo for all of his designs. Now, this design here was meant to have a part on the bottom where it would make this spin. As this top part spins, the air gets pushed down. And when that air gets pushed down, that creates lift, which pushes it up. Now, the thing about this design is it didn't actually work. Leonardo couldn't ever get this part to spin fast enough to create the lift that was needed to get it to go up. But that's okay, because we learned from that. And if you can kind of see how it spins, that works just like our modern day helicopters. So this idea of his gave us the start that eventually led to helicopters. Now, I have here a model of the Wright brothers airplane. You can see there's not a whole lot to it other than these great big wings, and it does have a small motor that spun the propellers, and that's what actually created the thrust that made this airplane go forward and actually gave them lift. And they were able to fly for about 120 feet. Now, today, our airplanes fly a whole lot more than 120 feet, but this is the start. This helped us to understand how people could actually make airplanes fly and how we can then develop that into what we know today as the airplanes that take us all around the world. Now, you've heard me mention lift, you've heard me mention thrust. Those are two of the four forces of flight that are really important to learn about when we're learning about aviation. When an airplane flies, it has to account for several factors. In order for it to go forward, it needs thrust. Thrust is the force that actually makes it go forward. As the airplane is moving forward, the air that's moving over and under the wings is creating lift. Lift, as you can guess, makes it go up. Now, each of those two forces has an opposite force. So the opposite of thrust that makes our plane go forward is drag. When the air moves over the airplane, it creates what we call drag. It's friction that sort of makes it a little bit harder for that airplane to go forward. So we need to make sure that our planes can create enough thrust to move them forward and overcome the drag that wants to stop them from moving. So let's talk about lift and the opposite force, which is gravity. Now, you guys all know about gravity. We all learned about gravity around kindergarten. Gravity is the force that keeps us all on the ground. So lift wants us to go up, and gravity wants us to stay down. That's why it's really important that our airplanes go fast enough for the wings to create enough lift to overcome gravity. And that is how our planes get off the ground. All right, I have a quick demonstration here for you all about how hot air balloons work. Hot air balloons were actually one of the first ways that humans were able to get off the ground. Now, how a hot air balloon works is in the name, hot air. So I have here my balloon. We're going to call it a balloon, even though it's a bag, but we're going to pretend it's a balloon. And you see here that I have some passengers. We have a rooster, we have a duck, And we have our friend the sheep. Now, we picked those 3 animals as our passengers because when we were first trying to figure out how to get a hot air balloon off the ground, those were our first test pilots. So we honor them here today by making them our passengers on our hot air balloon. Now, in order to make hot air for our hot air balloon, we need fire. So I'm going to take my flame here and very carefully put it under my balloon. And as that flame heats the air inside the bag, you're going to notice that the bag very quickly starts to expand. That means the air molecules inside the bag get further and further away. It's kind of like when you're hot and somebody tries to hug you and you're like, ooh, it's hot. They want to move away from each other. So the more that those air molecules move away from each other, the more the bag wants to go up. And that is how hot air balloons work. Now that you know a little bit about the science of aviation, when you come to the museum on your field trip, you'll be able to look at all the awesome aircraft that we have here and know how they work.